Nigerians today are very critical about the level of responsiveness, effectiveness, efficiency, and accountability of federal ministries, their agencies, and parastatals under the leadership of the federal ministers, tracking their progress report to determine their positive impact and challenges is of great concern to us on the Minister's platform. Welcome on board. Let's get you informed with latest Ministry News report on Ministry News. The Federal Executive Council has approved 169.7 billion naira for the reconstruction of 4 roads under the tax credit scheme. The Federal Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Rajifashola, who briefed State House correspondents about the development at the FEC meeting on Wednesday, said the approval was a response to the tax credit scheme initiated in 2019 by President Muhammadu Buhari after signing Executive Order 7 to allow the private sector to finance public infrastructure in lieu of tax and then to offset it over time using tax credits.
Private sector stepping into infrastructure as a result of important policy initiatives. One of those policy initiatives is the tax credit policy, which was signed as an executive order in 2019. Now we're in 2022, and what you will see now is that the appetite for private sector investment is increasing to fund infrastructure, even in the last year of government. I think a lesson to take away from that is the distance between policy and results. It always takes some time. But we're beginning to see results.
The federal government has disclosed plans to develop a technology-based renewable energy facility to boost the country's capacity to meet the needs of electricity consumers. The Minister of Power, Abubakar Aliyu, disclosed this in Abuja Wednesday while receiving a delegation from Dubai, United Arab Emirates, UAE, led by Sampro Group. The minister will note that the visit was in furtherance of an earlier discussion on renewable energy during his visit to Dubai investment earlier in the year, affirmed the commitment of the federal government to see that there was effective power supply of electricity for Nigerians. The Minister of Police Affairs, Mohammed Dingyadi, says the federal government is not resting on its promises towards tackling rising insecurity in the country. Speaking during a press briefing at the State House on the current state of policing and security in the country, as well as the ongoing innovation being executed in the police force, the minister said efforts are being utilized towards improving manpower requirements in Nigeria through recruitment of constables, information technology for biometric data capturing, and the establishment of the best West African police system for intelligence gathering in sub-Saharan Africa. The federal government recently announced that a comprehensive maintenance work will commence in federal highway bridges nationwide. The Minister of Works and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Rajifashola, will disclose this during the tour of the Akpogbon Bridge damaged by fire and other strategic bridges in Lagos, said the bridges will be given a facelift. The minister will emphasize that the government will not condone illegal occupants under the bridges. Forthwith called for support and cooperation from all stakeholders to fix the deplorable bridges. The Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Issa Pantami, has reiterated the federal government's commitment to protecting Nigerians from the harmful use of data. The minister said this in Abuja on Thursday at the inauguration of the World Development Report 2021 in Abuja with the theme Leveraging Data to Foster Development. Where does Nigeria stand? Represented by the Director General, National Information Development Agency, Mr. Kashifu Abdullahi, Pantami said the government has the responsibility to protect citizens' data and how it was being used, which has led the government to come up with policies and regulations to safeguard its citizens from the use of digital platforms. As part of its efforts to revitalize the economy, the federal government, through the National Council on Privatization (NCP), Bureau of Public Enterprises (BPE), in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment and the Nigeria Export Processing Zones Authority (NEPZA), has declared open the opportunity for the concession of the Calabar and Kano Free Trade Zones in Lagos, in a bid to make them world-class standard, functional and globally competitive. The minister, while declaring open the roadshow of the concession of the trade zone, said the concession was encapsulated in the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan 2017 to 2022, which is to accelerate the implementation of the Nigeria Industrial Revolution Plan. The federal government Thursday launched the Nigeria Internal Security and Public Safety Alert System (N-Alerts) mobile app to combat crimes and criminality in the country. The inauguration of the app, which was conducted by the Minister of Interior Rauf Aregbesola in Abuja, is to help citizens reach out to security agencies across the country for a swift intervention concerning crime, homicide, or other security-related incidents. And finally, on Ministry News, the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development has finalized arrangements to hold the maiden edition of the Nigeria Under-18 Basketball Championships in the country, in a bid to ensuring that more youths are involved in sports, especially in basketball. The competitive initiative is solely focused on youth at the grassroots level and will commence with zonal elimination amongst the 36 states of the Federation and FCT between the 27th of May and 30th, 2022. Winners and first runners-up emerging from the zones will proceed to Abuja for the finals coming up between the 3rd of June and the 8th of June, 2022. The business of governance for the presidency has been quite engaging and tasking in recent times. Let's keep you abreast with latest news information from the presidency. President Muhammadu Buhari has signed into law the National Health Insurance Authority Bill 2022. Speaking at the signing of the new law, the president pledged that a fund will be set up to ensure coverage of 83 million poor Nigerians who cannot afford to pay premiums as recommended by the Lancet Nigeria Commission. The new law repeals the National Health Insurance Scheme Act Cap N42 laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004. And finally, from the presidency, President Muhammadu Buhari arrived Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, to meet with the country's new president, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. The president conveyed his condolences on the passing of the ex-president and ruler of the Abu Dhabi, His Highness Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan. Presidential spokesman Malam Garba Shehu said that President Muhammadu Buhari congratulated the new president to renew bonds of the long-standing friendship between Nigeria and the UAE. The president reaffirmed Nigeria's cordial relationship with the country, admitting that the cooperation between both governments has helped Nigeria in tracking down illegal assets and tracing terrorist funds. The Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, under the able leadership of Mr. Babatunde Rajifasola, has made tremendous significant progress so far till date in roads and housing infrastructure. In a chat with the Honorable Minister in recent past, he bared his mind on some salient issues. Honorable Minister, we're very concerned about the deep involvement of some state government rehabilitating or constructing roads that seem to be federal roads. And we've seen some governors coming out to say, look, we've spent X amount, and this is affecting our financial power, it's eating deep into our financial purse. Is there some form of refunding done for the states? Or is there some kind of agreement between the federal government, your ministry, and the state government to try to fix these roads?
You see, it is important to set a context for the answering of that question. The country has a network of over 200,000 kilometers of road. Of that 200,000 kilometers, 35,000 kilometers belongs to the federal government. Those are the trunk A roads, or the federal highways as they're more popularly called. Those are the roads that connect one state to the other, or multiple states. Those are our own roads. But there are state roads, roads that connect one local government to the other. They are more than our own. And the last time I checked, no state government has finished all its state roads. Then the biggest network of roads are actually those of the local governments. They account for over 60% of that 200,000 kilometers. And the last time I checked, all those roads haven't been built. So the question is, you would ask, why is the state governor then bothering with a federal road when he hasn't done his own state road? But I have been there before. There are some roads that the public just don't understand, and they really are not interested in who owns it. It just affects their livelihood. There are roads that have become federal roads that have largely become urbanized. So right in the middle of the city, like the Lagos-Badagry Expressway. So that's why, as governor, I undertook to execute it at the time. And many governors have that problem also. And that's the context about how reform started. So at the time those roads were being undertaken, way back from 1999 to 2000, 2007, this country took $12 billion to go and pay creditors when your roads were in disrepair. That was a policy of the other party. But our sense now is that we must first invest in this infrastructure if we are to experience prosperity. So President Buhari has come to say, I will pay the debt that my predecessors incurred, because it is the federal government that should have done these roads. And so we have been paid. So the first tranche was about 500 and something billion naira. I think about 20 something states who made claims. We went round to inspect. I chair a committee of ministers that went to do the verification, working with the controllers and staff from the cabinet office. That was in between 2017 and 2018-19. Then in this second term, we've also approved
about 5 or 6 states, about 100 and something billion. I think Rivers and Cross River and Bayelsa got the largest chunk of it. There's a process to it instituted by the previous administration. You must get approval of the federal government and you must build to the specification contained in the manuals and regulations made under the Federal Highways Act. In the last month, I was in Yobe because we've received some claims again from Yobe, Taraba, and I think Kebbi, who said they were left out. My colleague, the Minister of State for Works and Housing, who is now the Minister for Power, covered Kebbi, and my colleague, the Minister of State for Education, Emeka Nwajuba, covered Taraba, because we have to go and see. But the president has said now, leave my roads alone. Face your own roads, let me face my roads. I will pay the debt I owe, but don't incur more for me.
Today we have cases of abandoned road and housing projects across the country, possibly due to paucity of funds or issues of contractors deserting sites. What are the challenges?
We haven't forsaken any road. There are roads where clearly there is not enough money. If the contractor is not funded, it will stop work. And much as it is regrettable, we understand it. Building materials are not things that contractors keep. From laterite to cross stone to cement to steel reinforcement or asphalt and bitumen, they don't keep them in store. So it's when we pay them, they pay suppliers who supply it to them, then they call laborers to come and work them into the finished product. So, but that doesn't mean we have abandoned the project. And again, in order to situate things, these are some of the reasons why you keep seeing that our budgets are deficit budgets to fund capital projects, but not just to fund our own projects, to also pay for the debt incurred by preceding administrations. So when you hear that the government of Nigeria is borrowing, it's not just borrowing for our own projects, it's also to pay debts that previous administrations had incurred. And to the extent that government continues, we inherit the assets and liabilities. We have no issues about dealing with them.
What are the fundamental challenges really of this ministry? And what are the proactive, result-oriented efforts, initiatives and measures taken to address them?
The challenges that we talk about, we have underinvested as a nation, and that is why most of our competitors seem to be ahead of us. But it's a gap that we can bridge. No nation, no society, no family lives better or grows wealthier than its infrastructure can afford. We can't be living on bridges built 30 years ago. We should actually be building bridges ahead for the next generation. So, and this is what President Buhari is doing now, investing in rail, airports, roads, bridges, fiber, pipelines. And so, long after this administration is gone, the value of the investments will continue to sustain the country. So, the big elephant in the room is funding. So, in terms of innovation, we've used all sorts of things. We've borrowed, we've had the tax credit policy that the president has approved. So that is helping to fund roads like Apapa Orushoki, Bodo Boni, Obajan Akaba. And we now see many more people now showing interest. Somebody now wants to take, one private company wants to take up the Otaidi Roku. One wants to take on Enugu Onitsha. So these are innovative ways. We are also using Exim Finance. There's a mix of solutions being put in to address the challenges.
Critical agency is our focus on our ministry agencies and parasiticals in focus segment. Let's share with you facts you need to know about the Nigerian Shippers Council. The Nigerian Shippers Council was established in the year 1978 with the help of UNCTAD by the law of Nigerian Shippers Council Act Cap N 133 LFN 2004. It is an agency of the federal government responsible for protecting exporters and importers in Nigeria, as well as its goods, an affiliation of the Nigerian Ports Authority and under the supervision of Ministry of Transportation. In line with the federal government port reform agenda, the Nigerian Shippers Council was appointed the port economic regulator in February 2014 to create effective regulatory regime at the Nigerian ports for the control of tariff, rates, charges, and other economic services. The agency is also to address the negative impact of port concession activities on the economy due to the absence of an economic regulator and to realize the optimal benefits of the federal government of Nigeria's port reform processes. These are some of the statutory functions of the Nigerian Shippers Council: to provide a forum for the protection of the interest of shippers on matters affecting the shipment of imports and exports to and from Nigeria, to encourage the formation of shippers association all over the country, to provide a forum for consultation between the conference and non-conference lines, tramp owners, the Nigerian Ports Authority, and the government of the Federation on matters of common interest, to arrange from time to time seminars and conferences on any matter relating to its functions in Nigeria, to advise the government of the Federation through the Minister on matters relating to the structure of freight rate, availability and adequacy of shipping space, frequency of sailings, terms of shipment, class and quality of vessels, port charges and facilities, and other related matters. The vision of the Nigerian Shippers Council to be the foremost economic regulator, providing a framework that fosters effective, efficient and competitive service delivery for sustainable growth in the transportation sector. Mission statements: to establish an effective and efficient transport regulatory system which advances the rights and interests of stakeholders, to ensure that the Nigerian transport sector contributes optimally to the economic growth of the nation, to develop and sustain a professional workforce driven by knowledge and technology for consolidation and sustainable growth. These are the core values of the Nigerian Shippers Council: customers focus and stewardship, innovation, trust and integrity, adaptability and value diversity, discipline and accountability, equity and fairness, and finally, leadership. The Nigerian Shippers Council is presently under the able leadership of the Executive Secretary, CEO, Mr. Emmanuel Jime. Nigerian Shippers Council, protecting the interests of Nigerian shippers.
The fact that there are no strict laws that governs or guides tenants.
For like 2 years now, and I have not seen one person ask me to pay 1 year.
Yeah. I like this city because of the job opportunities.
Nigerian youths are willing that they should lead, but the question is this: with the vices we have in Nigeria, the youths are penetrating. How truly are they ready to lead the country? Because most of our youths today, we have graduates who could not defend their certificates. We have graduates who are not depending on their certificates, who wanted to go by the way of business and other things. Do you have the instincts? Do you have the behavior? Are you disciplined? Most of our youths are not disciplined because they do things like, I want to have something to keep myself together, not thinking about their next generation.
They are ready and they are not ready as well, because they are ready if they are given the chance, but I don't think they can even give them the chance. That's the problem in Nigeria.
If they show interest in the government, there's nothing wrong with that. It's only few of them that are trying to express themselves. But I have discovered that they are not really seeing the supporters. If they see supporters from the political parties, from the civilians, I think they should get up. In African context, we believe that the youth are the leaders of tomorrow.
Because that the platform and the opportunity have not been given to them by our past leaders. Our youth are very, very dynamic. They want to do something. So they are very, very prepared. If they are given that platform, given the assurance that life can be better with good preparation, they will do well.
Well, endeavor to ascertain and confirm positive developments across federal ministries, their agencies and parastatals on the minister's platform, week in, week out. Thanks for watching.